Hey, welcome back to Team Diplomatic Diplodocuses.
Nice. How we doing, Sips?
I didn't even have the generator for that one. What do you
You
think?
just made that one up.
Yeah, right on the spot, actually. It's pretty good. How am I doing? You know, comme ci, comme ça. How about you?
I'm good. I'm doing good.
Yeah?
Yeah. I'm watching you play Punch Club over Steam.
Yeah. Our
thing.
newfound abilities to actually watch each other play games. I mean, we probably could play a game together at some point, but I don't know. It's up to you. Ultimate Fights. You want to do an Ultimate Fight?
I'm kind of done with. No, I've been playing a few games lately.
Yeah.
I've been playing The Witness. That
Oh
puzzle game.
yeah, I keep meaning to try that. I hear mixed things about it.
There's no story.
Oh.
Really. It's kind of just.
Is it
here's a
beautiful
lot
though?
Of the same puzzle. No, it's not really that beautiful.
Oh, apparently it's beautiful, like really nice to look at, and it made up for the fact that there wasn't.
It might be nice to look at for people who live in a fucking box in Alaska, right? Where all they get to see is like just the same scum every day. But it's
Right.
I don't know. It's a virtual
Okay.
world. Okay.
Yeah.
If you lived in a shitty place,
Uh-huh.
right? Like maybe. I know. I think you can find beauty in the real world anywhere. Actually, do you know, in Alaska, I'm sure it's extremely beautiful. I'm sure there's a lot of snow-capped mountains. It's probably fucking one of the most beautiful places in the world. Like maybe I'm being maybe that's a bad choice of place, right?
Right.
But a lot of places, and also the countryside, really beautiful. I'm sure. And
Of Alaska?
even in a city, right? Even in
Yeah.
a city, I'm sure it's beautiful. Okay, everywhere you can find rugged beauty
Uh-huh.
in nature everywhere. When people say that a game is really beautiful, I'm like, ugh. What do you mean? You mean it's colourful? Sure, it's colourful, but it's like fucking. It's like saying a sandwich is beautiful. It's
I mean, on the topic of that, people who make sandwiches nowadays are known as sandwich artistes because it's not good enough to just be sandwich maker.
No, 'cause
You
that
have
sounds
to
like
have a
shit.
really fancy title. So actually,
right.
when you consider that an artist is making your sandwich, that is a piece of art, and art is meant to be beautiful. So go fuck yourself.
It's like a bin man, right?
Yeah.
My mum always told me, do your homework or you'll become a bin man.
Oh,
Now,
it's not too bad being a
in
bin
no
man, though.
way,
No?
okay, want to discourage or put down people who work as bin men. Okay.
Right.
I think that it's probably a very noble career, and I think there's a lot worse careers. And I think that you do a valuable job, and I'm sure that you're a great guy or lady.
Yeah.
Bin lady. Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool, right? I just want to get that out of the way straight away. Thank you.
I want to add something to this, though, as well.
Thank you for your service.
Do you
okay?
think that...
I think that we should thank bin men like we thank American people who fought in the war, right? We always say, thank you for your service. We should say that to bin men too.
And,
Right,
I'm
go
not
on,
even
Sips.
going to interrupt, actually. I want to see where this goes. Go on.
No, but sorry. So, but now we don't call them bin men. We call them like recycling engineers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Now,
recycling
I think
engineers.
the word
sanitation
engineer.
engineer as well. That's another one.
Yeah,
A,
but it'll be
sanatorial engineerial. That's another one.
Some kind of bizarre mixed up name. Now, maybe that's okay, but I think that it does real engineers down to call bin men engineers. I think it takes some energy, some I think people who've studied to be a real engineer for a long time,
Yeah.
maybe they don't care, right?
Maybe
it
they
doesn't
don't.
matter.
Yeah, maybe they don't.
No,
Maybe you're right.
maybe it doesn't matter.
Yeah, maybe they don't give a shit.
No. And do you know what? Good luck to him. If
Good
you're a
luck to
bin
them.
man and you're at a bar and you're chatting up a lady and she says, "What do you do?" and you say, "I am a collection engineer. And a reappraisal, reusing, recycling."
Yeah, those are like it's like the three
scientist.
R's. Did you have to learn about
Yeah.
recycling at school when you were younger, when recycling first became a thing? This is like this is definitely a Generation X thing, right? Because like in the 80s they decided to invent recycling. Never existed before that.
No.
And it was such a advanced concept. Nobody knew what the fuck was going on. Like, people were going home every night crying and stuff because they were so confused and they couldn't figure out what this was.
That makes sense.
They had to send people into schools and do like presentations in the gymnasium in front of all the kids, like explaining what they are. And they had to explain what the 3 R's were, like reuse, refuse, recycle or something. And we had blue boxes where I lived. We had a blue box, and they would come and they would pick it up on like Thursday instead of like the normal Friday pickup for garbage. It was like a separate truck. And then they were really, really sort of strict on the stuff that you could put into the blue box, right? It had to be all recyclables, but like newspapers had to be put into a paper bag so that they were easier to sort. Like, there was all this stuff. And at the end of it, you were just sort of left thinking, well, hang on, whose fucking job is this? Like, seem to be doing all the work here while some guy just comes around and picks it up. But, you know, like, maybe they could have just sorted it out at the same time as putting it in the truck, or is that offensive? I'm not allowed to say that.
Surely there should be like machines, but then again, sometimes it's not much effort, and actually it's quite nice to feel like you aren't just ruining the world, or at least have a false sense of inflated value for yourself. So you think, well, look, you know, sure, you know, the world's going to shit, but it's not my fault because I am separating out my eggshells from my newspaper.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean,
or I'm doing paperless billing on my electricity bills, so therefore I'm saving the environment single-handedly.
Yeah. I mean, you sort all this stuff out in a great big heated, well-lit room, which, you know, arguably is destroying the environment. That just in itself, right, is destroying the environment because of the way that we produce like energy and stuff. I think we're going to lose this fight. I don't think we've landed a single punch on this guy, actually. This is the final fight. I think we need to train harder. So it's like, it's all a bit sort of...
Recycling, right, is clearly very important, okay? And you should do it, and it's good for everyone involved, okay? Every little helps, like they say. But sometimes I wonder if we are losing track of the big picture when it comes to certain things. Like, just, you know, sometimes the sheer amount of tat or pollution we cause because of the way we live. I don't know. I think a lot of flights, for example, are empty. You know, or at least not very many people on them.
Yeah.
A lot of people use individual cars instead of any kind of public transport, and there's certainly, you know, we invest much more heavily in fossil fuels still today. You know, China a couple of years ago was building a new coal power plant every day, or every week, sorry, or something like that. You know, it's some crazy statistics, and so. For a long time, we've been shutting down nuclear power plants instead of coal power plants. And I think that when it comes to these big decisions, they're often made by politicians who just want to get re-elected and don't really care about the environment.
Well, that's it.
I think the environment always takes the last... It takes last place in everyone's minds.
It does, because I think people care about it to a point, but then they realize that it's kind of too big to care about, and it's like a lost cause, so they stop caring about it. But then they come back around to it, and they're like, no, we have to care about it. But then they go outside, and they're like, well, my immediate area isn't like overly polluted, so maybe it's fine. You know what I mean? Like, it's hard for the human mind to comprehend the environment.
It's easy not to care
because it's so
about it.
big. You know, it's like the ocean. You can't understand the ocean because it's so vast. But there's like a lot of little intricate things to do with the ocean. And also you don't quite know... I mean, it's not like on MyFitnessPal, okay, you can calculate how many calories you're eating from anything. Yeah.
Okay? So you can even scan like barcodes. And so, you know, I can like just scan this thing I'm eating, and I'm like, I know exactly how many calories that is. I know exactly how much fat it is. I kind of... I know that's... It's kind of this quantitative thing where you can suddenly get a picture of what your impact is. But in the same way... It's quite hard to do that with the environment, you know. And sometimes, for example, the way it will work is that Basically, this is quite complicated, so I'll try and maybe it's not the best time to try and tell you about this.
No, this is the perfect time to try and tell
But-
me about this, because at this point in the day, I'm absolutely not listening. Like other
If-
points in the day, I might be half listening and stuff, and then this stuff will actually enrage me. But at this point in the day, it's still really early. I'm completely like a zombie. I'm not listening at all. So shoot for the
No.
sky.
Okay, well, the way it kind of works is that they do a lot of these studies which look into, like, for example, one of the economic ones is that they ask a class of students and they give them a test and they say, okay, on this test, you can all have, you can choose whether you want to get 2 points free credit on this test or 5 points free credit on this test, okay?
Right.
But the catch is that if more than 25% of you say you want 5 instead of 2, none of you get anything, okay?
Right.
So you have to decide on the test yourself whether you want to be greedy and take 5 or whether you want to go and take 2. And the problem is that very, very often, almost in every single case, too many people choose 5. Too many people are greedy. Okay?
Right.
And it's just human nature to be greedy and be selfish and think about yourself first. Okay? And that's kind of what humanity is like with the planet. So, for example, fishing,
Yeah.
imagine you decide that your country is not going to fish the ocean.
Right.
Okay? And they're going to try and cut down and blah, blah, blah.
Uh-huh.
That is just going to cause someone else to say, oh, well, okay, that means that there's more fish for me. Great.
Yeah.
I'm going to benefit from that.
Yeah.
And there's always going to be someone who's going to be selfish unless everyone works together. And very infrequently, people want to really work together. Very, very rarely people actually want to...
Unless there's
Um,
like lots of bazingas involved.
Unless unless they're incentivized somehow, unless they feel like they get a good deal. I think that's the thing about contracts and these things and these agreements, these international things too, is that you need it to get to a point where everyone thinks they're getting one over on the other person often as well. They're getting a good deal out of it. Like, so when you see these things being negotiated, sometimes it's like, the fishing thing with Japan,
Yeah.
and establishing the quotas is
And
that they
whaling.
can have their
They're not allowed
scientific
to whale
whaling ships
anymore, apparently.
No, but in order to get Japan to agree to it, they had to say, oh well, Japan can still fish X amount of whales for scientific purposes. Do you see what I mean? Or some
Yeah.
kind of bullshit. Again, I'm not a politician, and that might not be correct, but
Well, I mean, you say that, but you've convinced me. I mean, you should run for office, because
thanks.
I would
Sibs.
totally vote for you. I wanted to
I'd
say
vote for
something
you too.
about garbage removal before. I actually
Okay.
wanted to interrupt you, but I want to come back to it because it was a thought that I had. Do you think that if you were a garbage removal expert or engineer or whatever they're called now, and every day you were like, emptying the trash, taking trash out, throwing it into the truck and stuff, and like you're there and you're at a house and you're throwing out a bunch of stuff and you notice that there's like a perfectly good guitar, would you keep it?
I think having spoken to Garbage Man,
Yeah.
they do like to keep stuff.
Yeah. So do you think that this is a thing where they just like collect junk and they have these big houses like filled with junk as well? Because that could be kind of cool,
I don't know. Do you know what? I think everyone's different. I
Yeah.
think some people like to keep stuff just in case, and
Yeah.
other people don't want to.
No.
Other people.
I
don't
mean,
need it.
I own very few things. I don't know what you're like. I don't know if you have like a ton of stuff. I mean, I have a computer and a couple consoles. That's about it.
And
a few
I thought you were
books.
going to say a couple of kids.
No, but honestly, if like I got kicked out tomorrow, I would just have to find some way to move my computer, and that's it. Like I don't really have much stuff. I still have clothes that I used to wear like 10 years ago and stuff. Like I don't have like a lot of stuff.
I know. Yeah.
It's it shows, right? Not
Well,
so much visibly, but the smell.
Do you remember one of the first times we met was when you wore those jeans that had that incredibly huge rip all the way up the crotch?
Uh-huh.
And it wasn't like you'd be bending over and ripping them. Or
How do you know,
It wasn't
though?
like you're a big guy busting out. I don't know how you got that rip.
Yeah, it was just over time. They're old jeans.
I guess I'm never going to know.
Yeah. I mean, they were
Never
factory
gonna know.
ripped to look cool, because that's what they do that now, right? See, like those jeans
in the
that
crotch.
girls. No, like you see those like girls wear those jeans now that have cuts in like the knees and stuff.
That might be a future fashion statement. It's a big.
It's
ripped
not even. It's a
crotch.
current one. I mean, the thing is, when I was young, you used to have to work on those holes to get
I mean,
holes.
ripped
You have
knees.
to play floor hockey and all sorts of stuff to get like
It's
holes in your
fine.
jeans. But
I mean, when you were young, your jeans were always too long and they always dragged on the floor. I remember that as well.
Yeah.
And I always had
that was
like,
a '90s thing for sure.
wet ends on
Yeah.
the jeans.
Really
Oh, God.
gross. They were
Yeah.
like gigantic, like boot cut jeans too, and they would just get all ripped and frayed and wet and everything. Ugh, it's
But that was
disgusting.
cool. That was what you.
That was cool. Now it's not cool. Now you have to wear, you have to basically have jeans like grafted onto your legs. Now they have to be as like skinny, like ultra skinny as possible, but occasionally have little rips in them as well. That's the fashion. Well, at least that's what I think is the fashion. I mean, take that with a pinch of salt. I'm like 35 years old, so maybe I don't know what I'm fucking talking about, but you know.
Yeah. So I mean, the art of like good politics, okay,
Yeah.
is to get a lot of disparate people to agree to something that they probably don't want to agree to, who are kind of stubborn and kind of just grumpy and
Yeah.
kind of don't care, and so I think one of the things that came out of the Paris Climate Conference last year was that people were going to work together to stop temperatures rising beyond a couple of degrees or something, which I think it was all heralded as a very positive thing.
Yeah.
And so there is some light in the darkness here. It's not like I'm extremely cynical and miserable about
Well,
this kind of thing.
no.
But I think that just the very nature of the way corporations and governments tend to function is that they are a little bit robotic in their morals. They're not they're about the shares, and you know, if it's not your problem, why should you help out? You know, in many ways, you know, I'm being asked to help out with something which is so nebulous. You know,
yeah.
and I don't. What often people think is, why should I help out if someone else is just going to be greedy? You know, I think that's the whole. It comes back to that test. You know,
Yeah.
do you choose? And it's one of these. It's a classic dilemma, I think, in philosophy or whatever, but I can't remember what it's called, prisoner's dilemma or something like that. But you know, you get a choice. And
Prisoner's dilemma.
Yeah, it's something like so I can't remember what it's something to do with like either if you can either vote to get to. I don't remember. I don't fucking remember. Something like you can either all have your balls cut off or
Oh, nice.
no one can. I don't remember what it is, but
You
it's
do a
something like
vote. You vote for your balls to get cut off. All right. Well, listen. We'll talk about getting your balls cut off a bit more next time. Join us then.
that. All right,
And
I'll
goodbye.
find out. All right, bye.